Man, I do love these cutscenes, but I think I'm good. They did it! They freaking did it! They did exactly what I asked them to do. Thank you, Capcom, for not being completely lazy. Oh my gosh. Look, I can skip cutscenes! I can skip cutscenes. What is up, my Squirtlettes? It is I, your king, welcoming you to Okami HD. HD. Because Okami HD was already on the PS3, and this is Okami HD again. But is this the definitive way to play Okami now that it has been re-released on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC? Well, I haven't actually turned on the Xbox One version yet, and I don't have the PC version at the moment, so I can't quite tell you whether or not that is true for the other two versions, but I would imagine that they're in the exact same spot as this one is, because so far, and I mean, I'm here in the tutorial dungeon, Hana Valley at this point, but so far, from what I can tell, this is a completely direct port of the PS3 version with just a couple minor things added, and one of those things is the skip cutscene feature, which was only available in the cutscenes where you were feeding animals in the PS3 version or after you've completed the game at least once, which blew my mind because it's such a obvious thing to have in your game, and it was even in the Wii version, which is older than the PS3 version, and for some reason it was left out. Well, in this game they've brought it back, and thank frickin' goodness. I was actually worried because I saw a review of this game before it came out about last week, and they said that all the cutscenes were unskippable, and I was like, oh, they did it. They frickin' did exactly what I was afraid they were going to do, and no, they actually didn't. I have proof right there that all cutscenes are in fact skippable. This is my first playthrough. I just installed this like an hour and a half ago. Yes, it's real, ladies and gentlemen. It is freaking real. Okay, so what are the differences? Well, there are no differences visually at all. This is the PS3 version to a T. Even the PS3 version was capable of 4K, but the PS3 itself was not capable of 4K. So if you have a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, or a PC that is capable of outputting in 4K, then that is going to be the way you're going to want to play this. Absolutely, because this is a beautiful game, and oh, I can only imagine what it looks like in 4K. I don't think I'll ever get to experience that for myself, at least not for quite a long time, but it would be nice. That was terrible. Let's do that again. Do-over, please. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, Isun. Oh, Isun. You want to stop for a second? You want to stop for a second so I can actually do this? Thank you. All right. So, yes, everything's skippable. Ah, it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Just skip to whatever I want. Anyways, before I go any further, what are the big major differences? Well, on, okay, stop talking. First of all, I can go to the menu. It's same as normal, but if I hit the left side of the touchpad, it takes me to the options menu. So camera control, you can still invert the axes if you so please. I know some people like to invert certain axes when they're playing games. I've never really understood that, but if that's your thing, you have the option to. There's also the filter, so let's take a look at these. So the heavy filter, let's exit the options with that and show you the difference. So if you can't already tell, which you probably can, there is a bit of a film grain on the screen now that I've implemented the heavy filter. It looks a lot more dirty. This is more in line with of what the PS2 version looks like. It's a lot thicker and was kind of in a way there to mask some of the graphical issues with the PS2 version, because I know it pushed the PS2 to its limits. But it also is part of the aesthetic, and I think it looks very pretty, especially in this HD remake. Where it isn't really masking anything at all. It's just adding to the flavor of it, which, if you so desire, you can have that. You can have that filter on. And then there is the light filter, which is more akin to the way the Wii version looks, which is basically it's just stripped away completely. It's not there in the slightest, which is not my preferred way of playing it. I like the normal filter for sure. They're not huge differences, but the higher your graphical output, the easier you're going to be able to tell that it's there. So that's something to keep in mind. That was in the PS3 version. They also have controller vibration, which I don't even think this was an option in the PS3 version. Actually, I think you turn that off externally, not within the game. Then we got the sound settings, which you can go here and change these. Not a lot of options here, honestly. And then the original settings. This is the stuff that was added to this version and this version alone. If I want, I can change this to 4:3, which Let me exit real quick. And there we go. Now I've got the 4x3 look if I really want to go full-on PS2. Although I gotta admit, that's already giving me an eyesore, and I don't like it. Not on my nice widescreen TV, so I'm going to change that. However, aside from that, there is also the minigames feature, which allows you to do minigames in the pause screen to get additional demon fangs. Now, I actually have this off for a reason. You think, well, why not just leave it on at all times? So, there's a trade-off with the minigames. As I said in my initial impressions in video, I was concerned how they were going to implement these minigames, because the reason that the minigames worked on the PS2 version was because load times were so slow. You actually need ample time to make those minigames work and to hit enough button presses for it to reward you with the Demon Fang on each loading screen. So the way that this game has decided to compromise in that is it actually keeps you in the loading screens for a longer period of time once you get a rhythm going to see if you can actually get the Demon Fang. Basically, it artificially extends loading times for the reward, which is fine. I mean, if you really want to get those that way, then sure, that's one way to do it, I suppose. However, and that's not the menu I meant to go to. However, you can see where I'm at in the game. I've already got 19 of these, and I haven't gotten a single one through minigames. Not a single one. I don't need it. I'd rather just have my quick loading times, honestly. If that's really something you want for novelty's sake, then sure, go ahead, turn it on. But there's a reason it's an option, and I have it turned off personally. So are there any other differences in this version? Well, no, not really. It controls the same as the PS3 version. It looks the same as the PS3 version, because the PS3 version already output in a 4K resolution. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's the definitive way to play Okami, and the biggest gripe I had with the PS3 version, which was the prior definitive version, is addressed, and that's the skip cutscene button. Ugh, excuse me. So I guess the only reason you wouldn't get this version, or the Xbox version, or the PC version, is if you're one of those people that swears by the motion control functionality from the Wii and the PlayStation Move on the PS3 and Wii versions. If you absolutely swear by that, well, then you're kind of out of luck here, because they don't have that. Although I do know that the PC version does have mouse support, which is, I guess, is probably going to be pretty good for drawing. But personally, and I don't honestly mean to, obviously I'm not going to like say your opinion's wrong or anything, because you're absolutely entitled to your opinion, but even though the motion control functionality in the PlayStation Move version especially is actually pretty good, nothing beats using the controller for the brush screen. It's just the most accurate way to play. It's the easiest way to play. There's a lot of optional side quests that you'll encounter in this game that are just so frustrating without the controller. Like, I'm thinking in particular the fashion designer in Seon City, where you have to draw the certain shapes. Trying to do that with motion controls, especially the last portion of that quest, it's just not worth the headache. It absolutely isn't. So being able to draw perfectly straight lines with, you know, absolutely no problem whatsoever like this, it's so much better this way. This is the way that this game should be played. I know people think, well, it's a drawing game. You should be able to, you know, actually draw. No, this is not a game that really revolves around, you know, actually being artistic in any way, shape, or form. Because, don't get me wrong, I can't even draw, like, a stick figure properly. Like, no. Like, you see this abomination I'm making right now? That's horrifying. That's actually probably better than I can do with a pencil and a paper in real life. I'm serious. So, yeah, that's not what this game's about. This game is about having accurate brushstrokes and just making sure that the game recognizes exactly what you're trying to do. And the fact that the Wii and the PlayStation Move versions get in the way of that is why I think that those are not the optimal ways to play, but instead with a controller. I swear by the fact that the PS3 version is the optimal way to play, but because this game improves even on that version in just the slightest of ways, this is the way the game should be played. Now, as I said, again, I have not played the Xbox One or PC versions just yet, but I will. In fact, I plan to, over the next few months, 100% complete all three versions. So I will probably maybe give my full thoughts on the game again at that point, but as far as first impressions go, whether or not this is worth your $20, It is, absolutely. My one caveat was going to be if you already had the PS3 version, but now that I can see that the skip cutscene button or function is in here, this is the way you want to play the game. I promise you. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Okami HD Remake Remastered Port Edition. And I hope you all enjoyed this video very, very much. And I will see you all in the next one.